We are really excited for the season. We have been working really hard since the season ended last year. And I think we've added some valuable, important pieces to our group to continue to move the needle with our program. And the goal remains in terms of competing for championships and bringing Vanderbilt women's basketball back to national prominence. That's something we want to do, but it's still October, the last day in October, but it's still October. And we want to make sure that we just keep stacking days and improving every day. So we're excited to see what we look like on Monday. We have played a couple of closed scrimmages, and those have been helpful. But I'm excited to be in Memorial with our fans, with the media, with our staff and team, and just really see when the ball rolls out, what are we right now, who are we right now, and what do we need to keep getting better at.
Okay, go ahead and open up the floor for questions. Go ahead and state your name, your organization, and your question.
All right, Shea, what did you all learn about yourselves from the scrimmages?
Well, I think in the scrimmages, what I saw was the best of who my team can be, and then also the worst. And both, we played two teams that were very different, which is what I like to do every year in terms of style and athleticism. I want our teams to get exposed in scrimmages. I don't want us to go blow people out. I don't think that's helpful for the program, for my team currently where we are. So we talked about ball security. I think right now for us, rebounding is really important, and that's no news to you guys that have been covering us for several years. We have to keep adding size and experience, but rebounding to me is a state of mind. It's an effort, it's heart. You can do all the technical things you want, but either you go get the ball or you don't. And that's something we really need to make sure that we do this year, especially once we get to conference play, so that we give ourselves a chance to be competitive down the stretch. And then I think for us defensively, it's utilizing all the new pieces that we have as well. So getting the right rotations, making sure that we stay out of foul trouble. But what I do love about this team and what I learned in our scrimmages is that we do have depth. And that's also something new that we haven't had in the past several years.
How's Madison Green doing with her injury? When she's gonna return.
So she's good. Maddie was cleared this summer. She's full go. She's been full go since the end of the summer. She's been practicing since we started. She looks great. I'm sure when the lights go on, there's always, those of us that have had ACL injuries understand that there's always kind of that period of acclimation that no one ever talks about, and that will still exist for Maddie when we get to playing games. But she looks awesome. She's a huge piece of what I think we're capable of doing this year. I couldn't be happier that she's doing as well as she is, and the credit is all to her and our athletic trainer, because she's in the right shape to start off the season really well. I don't think there's going to be any obstacles for her health-wise.
You mentioned the depth that you have. Obviously not a problem, but how has it been for you trying to find the right combinations to have on the floor?
I feel like that's going to be a work in progress. I do love having so many different pieces, and I think I said this last year. To me, building a team is like putting together a puzzle. You don't want too many of the same kind of pieces. And the opportunity I've had the last couple of years to see what we're missing, to recognize what we can develop in the players that we have, and then to go and find the pieces that we need has been really cool. I think we have the pieces that we need this year to be really competitive in a special way. Now it's about developing them. And I tell them all the time, if you want to play, then make me play you. Make me play you. Be somebody that I have to have on the court. When you're on the bench and I need something and I look down there, okay, that person has to go in because I know what we're going to get from them. So some of that's up to me and making sure we have everything we need in terms of scheme. Most of that is up to our players. Like, make me put you in the game. All of them, though, to their credit, want to win. So whatever I ask this team to do, from top to bottom, they're going to do it for me. We just have to make sure that we're more consistent in those things day in and day out.
You mentioned some of the things you saw during the two secret scrimmages that you wanted to see improve, but was there anything that you saw that maybe excited you or surprised you as you get ready for this first game?
Yes. Michaela Blake's, I think you guys are going to really enjoy watching her play. One of the things about her that I don't know that it's been a surprise, but it's been a welcome addition, is that she's fearless. And when you've been doing this as long as I have, you see a freshman come in that's highly touted, highly recruited. There's usually some kind of transition phase. Their confidence gets shaken a little bit. It's a long season. Preseason is hard. She is not afraid of anything. She is a great communicator. She's one of our hardest workers. She's somebody that I have to have on the court all the time. As a freshman, that's a great sign this early. I'm sure there will be some stumbles along the way, but I think that stood out, number one. And then there's some improvement from some of our younger guys. Ayanna Mitchell, our transfer, Jane Waba Juice is her nickname, came in and did some really great things, blue collar things that we need, rebounding, screening, defending, those kinds of things. And then Camille Pierre did some really great things as well in the scrimmage and has shown some growth from last year.
Coach, talking about Camille, last year we saw her, kind of split some minutes with Sasha. We also saw lineups utilize that, had both of them in there. Can you talk about just how you're working with the two of them on the court, as they're arguably going to have a big role in this team?
Yes, so I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things I did want to talk about today, Sasha right now is out. She's limited in practice due to a non-basketball related health issue. So I think we're going to have some clarity on that pretty soon, and that'll give us a better idea of her time frame, but she won't be playing against Lipscomb, I can tell you that. So that kind of opens the door a little bit for Camille, Ayanna Mitchell, Trinity Wilson, who's one of our bigger post players that's a freshman, to come in and get really valuable extra minutes. So utilizing all of those pieces, I think the neat thing is their improvement helps me move them all over the floor. So one of the things I've talked to you guys a lot about is I want to be a team that plays fast, but intelligently, and has a ton of versatility. And I think that we have that in our group now. Now it's just making sure that everyone on the floor knows how to set each other up for success. So when you have more than 7 players that can play, that just takes time. So the thing that I can do to help them is put them in positions in practice every day to learn that, to not stop them, to try to control it, just let them make mistakes and learn through their mistakes. We've been doing that a lot, and I think it's been helpful.
You talked about just the excitement coming off of last year. How does that help raise expectations, not only around here, but for the standard that you set with those girls too?
The players that came in here, and the players that are still here, and that's, Ayanna Moore and Sasha Washington. I can't say enough about both of them in terms of their leadership and belief, because they went through it. They've been through it with us, and they were at rock bottom, the first couple years, but they want to win championships. So we talk about our success, and one of the things we say here in general, and you guys that have covered Vanderbilt athletics probably have heard this before, but we're proud of what we did last year, but we're not satisfied. We know that there's much more to accomplish. That's what they came here to do. That's what I came here to do. So the expectation is that we just keep competing, we keep knocking down those doors, and we compete for championships, whatever those are to exist. SEC, Thanksgiving tournament, NCAA. We don't just want to make the tournament. We want to compete. We want to compete in that tournament to win the championship.
What kind of development have you seen from Ayanna Mitchell?
She's in much better shape. Ayanna Mitchell's in much better shape. She's done a ton of work on her body, her conditioning, her strength. Her communication is much better. I think she's just more comfortable in the system that we have and knowing what she can do. One of the things she's great at is screening and rebounding. Ayanna Mitchell is an SEC athlete. And now we're just trying to get her to be very physical and not afraid of oh, excuse me. When she's in the paint, she can clear out space for herself and for our other players. And I think she's really comfortable in doing that now. The minutes that she's gotten in the preseason and the scrimmages, I think have really helped as well. We need somebody with her size and her rebounding ability to dominate the paint. So I'm constantly asking her, as are her teammates, when you're in there, we're gonna throw the ball to you and I want you to score. And so she's been great in accepting that and trying to help her team in that way.
How long have you all been without Sasha?
I would say about a month right now. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll have much more clarity. But she's able to do everything non-contact. So she's practicing, she's conditioning. This is not a basketball related health issue. She's able to do everything on the court. So when they tell us that she can come back, she'll be ready to go.
How do you feel like the team has been able to adjust to practicing without her on the floor, knowing how big of a staple she's been within the lineup the last few years?
I actually think they've done a great job. And I think if this is something that is gonna happen, I would much, much rather it happen now than in January. And any team can tell you when you have somebody like her, Ayanna, and you lose them mid-season, that can just, rock your team to the core, especially a young team. So I'm a big, half full, what do they say, glass half full. I'm very much optimistic, although I know you guys have seen me sometimes not so much, but I think that things happen for a reason. People think that's a cliche. I don't. There's always a reason for things that happen. I think the reason this is happening right now is so that our younger guys can have a little bit more responsibility on their shoulders, so that when she does come back, that they are able to manage things when she's not on the floor. Because, you know, sometimes Sasha fouls a lot, and, you know, we're gonna have to take her out, and they're gonna have to step in, and we can't miss a beat. They have really, really, really grown over the last month because of that.
Obviously, having lost Jordan Cambridge, who do you see your main options as being at point guard this year?
Right now, the reps are getting split between Maddie Green, Michaela Blakes, and Jordan Oliver. I think all of them can play the point. I think they all bring something different to the point position. But what I love about it is that there's not just one, right? So if something, you know, whether it's a scheme or somebody rolls an ankle, knock on wood, I feel really comfortable that those three can manage what we need managed on the floor at any given time at that position.
And what do you think Leilani Collins brings to your program?
A bull in a china shop is a good way to describe her. She is willing to do whatever your team needs to do to win. I don't know that I can state enough to you guys how important it is on a team that's trying to win at a high level when you have players on your team that are willing to do that and they don't care how much they shoot it. I mean, like, shooting and scoring is really important to players for some reason. And there's a lot of players on our team that are very good at shooting and scoring, and Leilani's one of them. But she doesn't have to have the ball in her hands to make an impact and to be on the court and happy with the things that she's doing. That she brings experience from her last 4 years at Penn State, where she played a major role on their team doing the same thing. And so, you know, both her and Juice are almost very similar in that way, where they played, they started, they filled this role for their team where they had to do a whole lot. But when they come here, the thing that they told me they want to do most is win. So they're willing to do whatever it takes for us to win. I cannot tell you how much we needed that and how much they're doing for us right now in that vein to help move us forward.
Last couple of questions.
You mentioned how the younger players have really grown a lot over this last month. Where do you feel like they've taken that biggest leap and that biggest step in that time?
I would say composure, conditioning. I think the cool thing for our younger guys, and I'm kind of including our grad transfers, because it's hard. You play for a long time, but they feel like freshmen right now because everything is new. I want them to just play through their mistakes, and I want us to be the hardest working team on the floor. So no matter what, we're gonna effort, we're gonna play hard, we're gonna be a unified team, we're gonna try to play really smart. So I've seen our freshmen grow in not beating themselves up too much, playing through mistakes, communicating with their other teammates in terms of what they need to do better, what they think they can do better. When you have, you know, young players, that can be tough. You know, they get down on themselves a lot, then their confidence is shaken, and I'm not able to trust them to put them on the court. I don't see that in the guys we have right now. And in October, that's a great sign. That's a great sign.
If you could describe your team in one word, what would it be?
Alina always coming with the tough question. In one word, hungry. Hungry. I think they understand what's out there to be taken, and they want it. It's a joy coaching them. I'm excited.